Well, hello, football fans, and welcome to this edition of the Billy Skinner Lamar Viking Football Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley, and with me, as always, of course, head Viking football coach and male athletic coordinator, Billy Skinner. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. It's a Monday morning. I just feel energized and ready to rock and roll and take on the week.
And I'm feeling the same. I just got to lift in. I've started lifting weights again, and it's something about that Monday lift that just kind of gets the week going off on the right foot.
Hey, is there any way I can get weight room privileges
Come
over
on. Hey,
there?
I'm gonna need a spot. Those weights are heavier than the last time I remember.
You might want me and someone else to spot. I'm starting over completely, coach. But all right. Well, so last week, a great showing. I mean, a great showing. I think there was improvements in the kicking game. There's improvements in the offense. There's improvements in the defense. Man, that offensive line blowing some holes open.
Yeah, buddy.
Of course, we're talking about varsity level. I
Yep.
don't know if you want to talk about the JV and freshman games first, and then we kind of bring back the varsity.
Well, you got me all fired up
Oh, go
about the varsity.
ahead.
So I'm glad you saw it like that too. The confidence right now in our offensive line room is very high as it should be. The team we just played against, they have one of the bigger O lines, one of the better O lines or defensive lines. I'm sorry, one of the better defensive lines that we have faced, will face, and just the confidence that our kids played with. I mean, they were getting bodies on bodies. Samari Wilkins is one that really stood out to me this week, getting people going backwards. And he was one that I challenged. I challenged Coach Morris last week, and it wasn't there. There was not an excuse from any of those kids, any of those coaches. That was all right. Let's do it. Let's get to work. Let's make sure that we're simplifying and we're doing those things. And I think from a week one to week two, any kind of jump like that, the biggest improvement came from that offensive line room. And I was extremely pleased to see that. I know the skill group was extremely pleased to see that. The running backs, Tyrone Thomas had a really good day, and he was excited about it. Jaden Shaw came off the field after the game, and you never feel good about a loss, and that's what I
Yeah.
want our kids to understand. Like, we felt good. You don't want to feel good about the loss, but we felt good about the steps forward that we took. We talked about operational excellence last week, and the operation was a lot cleaner, and needs to get cleaner so that we can achieve that overall goal of getting the win. Yeah, so no, from a varsity standpoint, was really pleased with the steps we were taking. Flip side of that, disappointed with some of our penalties and those kind of things. Like,
Yeah.
we have to get out of our way. The One of our keys to victory is Zoom focus. Vikings can't beat Vikings, and when we, just critical situations have poor penalties, that's us beating us. And so that's something that we're going to harp on. That extra day of prep, we're an actual Friday night this week. So,
It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, no doubt. So that extra day of prep, that allows us to focus a little bit more fundamentally on some of the things. And maybe now we're not blocking in the back, or, just it gives us that extra day to really hone in on the fundamentals that we need so we can execute without getting in our own way.
What are some of the ways that you and the coaching staff work with the players to help reduce, minimize the risk of penalties? And I
Yeah.
know there's a wide variety.
Yep.
Defense can jump off sides, an offensive lineman or receiver can jump early, illegal procedure. You can block
Yep.
in the back. And lo and behold, sometimes there's those unsportsmanlike or personal foul penalties. But what do
Right.
y'all do? And we could probably talk hours just about that. But in general, what do y'all do to get that discipline going?
Well, to be honest, you want to teach off tape, and it's a lot better and easier to teach off other people's tapes and other people's mistakes.
Okay.
But I mean, when it's you making the mistake, when it's your team making the mistake, you pull that film up, and it's not an embarrassing session. It's not, hey, I'm calling you out to embarrass you. It's, hey, I'm calling you up so that we
Hmm.
can teach you a proper way to avoid this next time. We had an illegal crackback block on the first game, and that was critical. And so, I got with Coach Viard and I got with Coach Dixon, our two receivers coaches, and I said, hey, I want to make sure this week we are emphasizing and practicing what we call a flyby block. And a flyby block is where I am running at a defender and I'm going to go turn my back to him and put my arms up and basically make him run into my back and avoid hitting him in his back. And so that's something that we do with our special teams, but it was something I wanted done with the receivers this week so that we can avoid those blocking the backs and those illegal crackbacks. I will say, and I'm again, officials are a lot like the weather. Um, you can't, it's out of our realm of control and those kind of things. There was a block in the back this week that I can say I don't necessarily agree with.
Mhm.
After watching it back on the tape, I felt like our kid did all of the things that we coached him to do. I felt like he did a good job of getting up under the defensive back, but I'm not the one holding the flag on that. So obviously we'll respect it. And the cool thing about that play was 2 plays later, we ended up running a pass play and getting 30 yards. So it didn't affect us too bad, but yeah, it's definitely an emphasis for us. We take our mistakes, we show them to the kids, we show them to the coaches, and hey, what can we implement? What can we put in place to make sure that we clean this up?
Hey, speaking of officials,
Yeah,
there's a new law that passed, state law. It was Senate bill, and I'll get the number wrong, so I won't say it. We made an announcement at the game Thursday night, but
yeah,
it's saying basically that an official can eject a fan
yeah,
for foul mouth, for abusing verbally, whatever, without warning. And I believe it's if you have 3 ejections, there's some further actions that can be taken against a team. Do you
yeah.
want to speak to that? And here's the deal, Coach. We've not had those issues at Lamar,
Right.
it seems like. I don't, but do you want to speak to that at all?
Sure. No, I think that's a rule that's been born um, kind of at the junior high level. And here's why I say that. What we're seeing with our junior highs, and again, I'm going to Shack and I'm going to Nichols, and I'm not seeing it at ours. I'm seeing we've got great families who allow people to do their jobs, all that good stuff. But um, there is there's definitely a transition from youth sports to school sports.
Okay.
And you get out at the youth sport games and those kind of things, and I mean it's really been no holds bar for since these kids have been playing since second, third grade, and then they
Yeah.
get to seventh and eighth grade, and a lot of those things that they're able to chirp and do all of those kind of things, that's not a thing anymore. It's gotten out of hand the last couple of years. We're seeing a decline in officials, regardless of sport, regardless of level, of people that like, hey, you don't pay me enough to come take this kind of verbal abuse and those kind of things. And so I think one of the ways that the UIL is trying to combat that loss is by uh, giving them a little bit more power to do something about it if they feel like lines have been crossed. So no, it's definitely important that as fans go, and we actually talked to our parents during our parent meeting. Like one thing COVID taught us was that um, we can have these games without spectators. We can't have these games without officials. And so it's important that we kind of abide by those guidelines. We make sure it's okay to disagree, but there's definitely that line, and we've got to make sure we stay above that line and away from getting ejected. Because again, that at the end of the day now, it can impact the Vikings in a very negative way. So I am I'm not upset with the new law, and I think I can say that confidently just because I know how great our spectators and our families do.
Wait, and you said, and I agree with you 100%. I think we've got to do anything we can to protect those umpires, officials, all sports, because like you say, there's a dwindling number because people don't want to take the abuse or put up with it. I've got a feeling that not to belabor this too much, but at the junior high and youth levels, football especially, you're closer to the field. It seems like
Yep.
there's a smaller crowd. There's not a band. There's more chance the official is going to hear you, and I think some people think, hey, they're going to hear when I mouth off or say something
Right.
or
Right.
correct them or make
Yep.
that call for them. Baseball at all levels is up close. And I'll tell you, Coach, this is a baseball thing, but you're an athletic coordinator for the school. You'll
Yep.
like this. I talked to an umpire at a baseball game last spring and happened to be a female. She said, there are some schools I will not go umpire
Yeah.
at. And she said, but Lamar is one of my favorite
Mm.
places to umpire at because the crowds are great, the
Yeah.
atmosphere is fun, and all that. So, congratulations to you, but to our fans who
Yeah.
know how to, 99.9% of the time, know how to conduct themselves.
Well, and what I can tell our football fans is I promise you guys, if you see it in the stands, I probably see it on the field. And I feel like I do a really good job of communicating with our officials effectively. And so I do make sure I let them know exactly what the consensus is on our sidelines. So
We
uh,
we we see and note that in the
yep,
broadcast.
no doubt.
So
Hey, we
speaking of that, and I think people know by now, we don't script these shows out.
right.
And you always say, I always say, Coach, anything I should avoid? Nope, bring it.
Yeah.
So, and this is another, but in the game last week, there was like a deal with the clock at the end of the game. It was 2 seconds, then 4 seconds, then this, then 16 seconds. You were having some pretty extensive discussions with the officials. Can you share anything of what was going on?
Yeah, we were out of timeouts. We had done the math in the box. We knew that we were going to have an opportunity to get the ball back with about what I thought, well, we calculated at 22 seconds. When I looked up and saw 1.1 second left on the clock, the math didn't math. I was actually talking to our side judge, and he was on the same page with me. And it seemed like not everybody was on the same page. Here's credit to that crew, and I let me give them their credit, and then I do want to brag on Fort Worth, the official chapter. Um, Credit to that crew. They came to me. They said, "Coach, we screwed this up. We made a mistake here.
Okay.
We're going to correct it. We're going to put it back to 16 seconds. That's still about 5 to 6 seconds short, but credit to them, coach. We screwed it up. We're gonna do what we can to make it right. They put the 16 seconds back on the clock, and then it gave us an opportunity, and that's all we wanted. We wanted an opportunity to compete to the very end, and so kudos to them. And I'll say this about the officiating just in Texas in general. I don't know if there's a state or a organization that does more professionally as far as developing their people than these officiating chapters. I mean, after games, they want the critical. They want me to send a cut up of plays where we've got penalties that I don't necessarily agree with, or penalties that were missed, and we send them with notes, and they do a really good job of having that communication. They're looking to improve. It's not like they're just showing up on a Friday night thinking, "Hey, how can I screw over the Vikes?" That's not how they work. And so I understand that. I've got a great respect for their profession and what they do, because it is stinking hard. We're asking them to make decisions in real time when things are happening like that. And so the fact that they're working hard at their craft at our spring game. I mean, I know we made all the jokes about all the zebras, but there was over 100 officials from all over the country at our spring game working to get better at that profession. So great respect for them. I know
Good.
that whether I agree with what's happening on the field or not, I know they're looking to make it as best as they can so that they can call fair games and just give each team an opportunity to do what they love to do, which is play the game.
Well, they're humans. We're all humans.
Yeah. Yep.
Going to make mistakes, but how cool that is to hear that they took the time, that crew last Thursday night, listened to you. I'm sure they listened to the other coach too,
Yep.
but said, okay, we screwed up, but here we're going to make it better. And to me, that's one of the biggest things an adult or any human can do is say, I
Yeah.
goofed up, but let's make it the best we can,
Yep.
if we
No
can.
doubt.
So
No doubt. No
anyway,
doubt.
great. Well, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and reverse course just a hair.
Wait,
Wednesday
can I
night.
pause? Can I pause you just real quick?
Oh,
I'm so
please
sorry.
do.
I hate to cut you off.
No,
I
no.
if I don't mention this, if I were my defensive staff, I would punch me in the head, because I've got to give a major kudos to Coach Naharo, Coach Hu, Coach Harris, Coach Goodman, Coach Onyebule. And who else am I forgetting? I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. That was 5 coaches, right? And there's so much more. But our defensive staff put together a heck of a plan. We were playing against that Saxy team that can run the football. They have a big offensive line. They had good backs. They had good receivers. On 36 carries or something ridiculous like that, they averaged 2.4 yards a carry.
Boom.
That's some serious defensive line play. Kids like Marquise Rice, who big number 95.
Yep.
You see him in there, and he's big and he's hard to move. But the other cool thing about it is they're stretching and making him run, and you see him getting off a block and pursuing a ball laterally. Guys like him, guys like Angel Cassell was another one that
Yep.
stepped in. He played inside, he played outside. Those guys did a fantastic job. Braylon obviously is going to get to the ball and show up very upset. Talon Martinez was our other inside linebacker who kind of showed up with some poor intentions as well. So I've got to give kudos to our defensive staff and
Thank
to our
you.
defensive kids, because anytime you hold a team like that to under 3 yards a carry, that is a recipe for success. So shout out to our forcing unit and shout out to that defensive staff for putting that plan in place.
You interrupt me anytime to do that kind of kudos. I'm serious and you're right. I mean, maybe outsized a little bit, up on the line with that, but our guys moved, blocked, followed the ball, and didn't get tricked really. So yeah,
No, it was
great planning,
it was
great
definitely it was
execution.
fun to see.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, so now let's reverse course or change
Let's do
direction
it.
a bit and go to the Wednesday night, the JV and
Yes.
the freshman teams. What did y'all see there? How'd all that turn out?
Yeah, I'll start with our freshmen. We found a couple of ball players on our freshman goal team. We came up short on the scoreboard, but we had a new kiddo, Ladarian, who got the ball and punched it in quite a few times. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns this week, and so he was a new one that we just added to that roster. He did a really good job. So shout out to the freshman gold team for fighting their tails off, and they went down early. They battled themselves back. They made it an extremely competitive game, and didn't quite. Again, the clock ran out on us, but man, they
Ran
were
out of
battling.
time.
That's it. That VFND spirit was definitely strong within them. So our JV gold team, same situation where we went behind kind of early, but we had some really good things happen out of that group. Jaden Suarez to Tyler Shaw, our quarterback to our tight end combination, was pretty deadly. On Wednesday night, it seemed like they were always connecting for a big play. Tyler Shaw kind of catching the ball and doing damage after the catch, which is really nice when you have tight ends that can do that. He kind of had a little George Kittle look to him. So
Nice.
shout out to Tyler Shaw from that JV Gold team. And then we had some big plays on that JV Gold defense. William Atkins, I had to give him a hard time on Thursday because he had an interception right in his hand, and I think he wanted to play more defense. So he decided to go ahead and just drop that or knock it down. It's a pass breakup.
Yeah.
But, he was all over the field. William Atkins was for that JV Gold team. Our JV Navy team, again, battled. Angel Olives did a really good job as a kicker, making some big time kicks and had an opportunity there at the end. We came up a little bit short, but Darian Hollins got his first start at quarterback with that JV group. We had a kiddo out, and so Darian Hollins stepped in, and I mean, he operated it really well, threw the ball really well. And then Quinn Makuba out of that group was running like a man possessed. I mean, I've watched that film 2 times and just in awe of how he's carrying the football and just, I mean, play after play after play. I mean, 6 plays in a row. He shouldn't have that much oxygen or lung capacity, but I mean, he was toting it a little bit on Wednesday, and that was a lot to be excited about with that group. And then finally, our freshman Navy team, man, that's a good football team. There's about
Cool.
25 kids on that roster, and we had one of our tougher tests this year. Saxy's team. I mean, Saxy had some monsters. Their quarterback looked like he was about 6'3" and about 180 pounds. He looked like Cam Newton. And our dudes like Isaiah Bowens. By the end of the game, I know that right tackle was tired of trying to block Isaiah Bowens. At one point, I looked at him, I was like, Isaiah, please get the sack here. It was towards the end of the game.
Right.
We're up big, and we know they're going to throw it. And he looked at me, and he kind of, yes, sir. And he goes, and that play, I guess that was the coaching point because he goes, he gets off a block. Dylan Rippey does a good job of making the quarterback step up. And then Isaiah comes off, gets the sack, and then looks at me and says, I was like, yeah, dude.
That's great. The feedback.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
On the offensive line this week, those guys did a really good job getting on people. Ricky Swayze, I mean, that dude, he's a monster inside. He's our starting center on that freshman Navy team, and Like he's getting people on the ground and has dirty intentions, just getting after them. So really, really excited about that. And then the skill group, there's so many of them to name because so many of them scored touchdowns this week. But very proud of BJ Williams, the quarterback in that group. He ran tough. He was one that he can throw it around, and everybody kind of looks at him as a quote unquote pocket passer. But there was a couple of times he looked like Derrick Henry getting downhill, running through tackles. So proud of that group. They ended up with a 30-13 victory
Wow.
versus a really good Saxe team. But like I said, that's a special group that's got a bunch of really good players. And then one of the most exciting hits I've ever seen. Our kicker Yvonne kicked an onside. Their guy got it back, and Jamar Roberts was like, "Hey, I'm going to still try to get this ball," and lays one of the biggest hit sticks I've seen in football, regardless of what the level was, and it was awesome. I'm surprised the kid held on to the ball.
You know, it's great to see the talent that's developing and building. And I got to say this too, there's some great names. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Ladarian, you just know that guy's going to run
yeah.
fast and
Oh hey,
score.
no doubt, no doubt.
Makuba, you know he's going to outmaneuver just,
Oh my
and then you
goodness.
see him play. And
Yeah.
I want people to realize, I think we said this at least once last year. I think it's easy for people to kind of discount freshman and JV football or any sport. Oh, that's just the whatever. But that is the development. That's the program future. Those are the guys that are learning how to play every type of position there is. And that's, I'm sorry if you hear dogs in
Oh,
the
that's all
background.
good.
They,
I
hey, hey, stop.
They look like they're having the time of their lives. I don't want to get in the way of that.
They're training to be on the freshman team.
That's it. I'm ready to have them. And they look
They
like they're playing with some intensity. So, hey, I love how you brought that up about development on those sub varsities because I'm thinking of a guy named Blake McClendon who played here, and it was, oh my goodness, 2011, 2012. Blake, I'm sorry if I'm making you seem older than you are, but Blake started off as a freshman, quote unquote, B team player, and then played a little bit on the JVB team. Ended up being a starter because of injuries as a junior, and ended up being an all district type player as a senior. Those teams are so important for what we want to accomplish here. So,
yeah.
you see kids that they leave for the summer and they're 5'5" and they come back and they're 6 foot and you're like, holy smoke. So no, we definitely we're excited about our young kids. We want them to play a lot of football and grow and get better.
Excellent. All right. Well, Coach, I guess you're still looking for the sports drinks, the 20-ounce size bottles. You're looking for peanut butter and bread.
Yes.
What a
All of
great,
the things.
yeah, what a great program that, or elements of the program that is, making sure the guys get their protein, if it's a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, whatever. And then, of course, having the sports drinks ready to refuel and refresh them.
No doubt. And how cool of a community do we have too that they come, Coach, I'm here. I've got the peanut butter.
Nice.
So really shout out to our community for taking care of our kids and making it an emphasis and making it a big deal because I know our guys really appreciate it.
Cool stuff. All right, the schedule coming up this week. Varsity travels over to Mesquite to play, I believe, Mesquite Horn.
Yes, sir. So varsity will play Friday night. You heard that right. We're back to Friday Night Lights. We play Mesquite Horn at Hamby Stadium in Mesquite, Texas at 7 o'clock on Friday. We will only have one freshman game and one JV game this week. So the freshmen will play at Fraser Middle School in Mesquite, and that'll be a 5:30 kickoff or as close to 5:30 as we can get there. They'll play Mesquite Horn, obviously, and then our JV will be at Workman for a home game on Thursday, seven
Okay.
o'clock,
All
and
right.
that'll be the JV Navy team. So not as much football this week, but we got football this week.
Hey, all three levels are playing. Unfortunately, only half the sub-varsity teams, but it's good stuff, and I encourage everyone that can to go out there and see all levels of the teams.
Yes, absolutely. And come see football. Here's the other thing. We've got a bunch of good stuff happening with our other sports this week.
Okay.
Volleyball opens district tonight, or no, I'm sorry, tomorrow night. It's not Tuesday. Volleyball
Yeah.
women's district against Martin tomorrow at home. So we want to pack the stands and cheer for our girls. We've got tennis at Sam Houston this week, and then our cross country team's running at Haltom on Wednesday. So a lot of opportunities to support the Vikes and support a bunch of different Vikes. It's exciting stuff. Get out and cheer them on. I tell you, it makes a huge difference for our kids.
It sure does. And I appreciate you bringing those other sports up, and also appreciate I'll see you at some of those different sports and games. You're like, wait, how are you in two places at one time, coach?
Hey, it's that time of year and it's a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember being in high school and I was never really allowed to go to the volleyball games and basketball games because they were weeknights and my mom was, no, you're gonna stay in your study, you do all those kind of things. And so who would have thought that I'd pick a profession where I'm gonna get to make up on those lost on
And
those lost high
encourage
school days.
others to come
That's
out.
it. Yeah, that's right. So
All right. Coach, anything else to say, shout out, whatever, before we sign off?
oh my goodness. I had one in mind.
Okay.
Um,
I
no,
can
I do.
stall.
I do want to shout out. I want to shout out our fans, and I want to shout out our admin. Um, Thursday night was it was just it was a different feel altogether. Um, Shout out our band, cheer, and Vikings. There was obviously week one where rain, lightning, all those kind of things, they're not in the stands. Um, and then this Thursday, they're there and you hear the music pumping and you hear the pom poms and the Vikings are out there getting us ready to go. And Friday Night Lights, it's such a special experience, and I think it's easy to get lost in the football piece of it. But shout out to those groups that really make Friday Night Lights what it is, because that feeling we had on the sideline, um, yes, we did a lot of things to improve that, but my goodness, it sure helped to have all of our groups in there and our admin there supporting us. So shout out to all those people that make Friday Night Lights what they are.
I'm glad you brought that up. And hearing the brass ensemble do the national anthem,
Oh,
that
so
was just
good.
like, wow.
I got the chills, man. And
Yeah.
we do remember the previous game we didn't do a national anthem. Like it's
Yeah.
never again. Whenever we have that experience, I want you to remind me, hey, remember we did it without it and it just didn't feel the same. So we will
Even if we have to
always,
pipe it in, record it or
no
something.
doubt. I'll sing it if I have to.
And
I'll
you've
knit
got a
now.
foot, and you've got, oh, hey, I'm going to hold you to that, coach. We'll have a mic ready. And you've got a football player that was in the brass ensemble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see
So,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff too.
It's very cool. Very
All right.
cool.
Anything else? Last call, coach.
I think I'm done.
Okay, put a fork in you. Well, let's pack the stands with Viking fans at all sports, all levels this week. And until next week, I'm Bill Frawley with head football coach Billy Skinner saying VFND.
VFND.